Children, moving ahead, we will go to the next topic. Will the land sustain? Now, after the Green Revolution, we see some negative effects of the Green Revolution also. Now, what happened with these HYV seeds when they were planted? They needed more water, more fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, only then we got production. And because more water was needed, so a lot of irrigation system had to be introduced, tube well irrigations, and would not only depend on monsoons. So what happened, that reduced the ground level water, and with the increased use of fertilizers, the soil started losing its fertility. Okay, so these were the negative impacts of the Green Revolution. We'll take a comparison. You can see, because of this modern methods, so we were using traditional seeds in 1960, and then after 1960 we started using HYV seeds, okay, which led to the Green Revolution. We had surplus production. Okay, earlier it was low yield, hardly any yield. This promised yield in the same piece of land, lots of yield was promised. Traditional seeds required less irrigation, but this needed plenty of water. Now, what about the fertilizers? Farmers earlier used cow dung and other products as manure, but now they were using chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So these were the negative impacts. So they were wondering whether the land they will be able to sustain. So we need to preserve our land, because land is fixed and limited. Okay, so that was the next topic. We'll go ahead and see how the land was distributed in Palampur. So the land, we had a lot types of farmers. We had small farmers, medium farmers, large farmers, landless farmers, means who hardly had any land. Okay, so here you can see the distribution of land between the farmers of Palampur. You can see the medium size farmers, they had more than 2 hectares of land. Okay, and small farmers, they hardly had anything. Okay, we'll go into detail. I'll show you a detail. So you see, children, as I told you earlier, there were 450 families, and we'll see how the land was distributed among them. So you see, 60 families out of these 450 had more than 2 hectares of land. That means they have lots of lands. And 240 families had less than 2 hectares of land. Okay, and 1/3 of 450, that is 150 families, were landless. That means they had no land. Okay, so they had no land. This is the distribution of land. Children, let's look at the next topic. Who will provide the labor? The spelling, there's a spelling mistake in provide. Okay, so now who will provide these labors to cultivate the land? Now the small farmers, they use their family members to cultivate the land. But what about the medium and large farmers? They have huge lands, so they need to hire landless laborers for their labor requirement. And now you can see they hire these laborers, landless laborers who don't have any land. They give them wages or salaries, either in cash or in kind. Maybe they'll give 1 kilo of wheat or something, whatever they do. And the wages depend on what kind of a farming activity they are doing. Okay, it all depends on what type of an activity they are doing, and it also depends on what type of crop is grown. So the wages are not fixed, it depends, and it keeps varying. Okay, sometimes they may be employed for a year, or sometimes only on a daily basis. Okay, as the need requires. Children, we go ahead to the next topic, the capital needed in farming. Now, to grow crops, money is required. Now, where will the money come from? For small farmers, he doesn't have any savings. He needs to borrow money to buy his seeds, to arrange for irrigation, where he has to take it on rent, or to arrange for a tractor, he needs to take it on rent. So he needs money for all this. So earlier it was mainly they depended on money lenders, and now there are banks which arrange for their money and capital needs, the money needs that they need. Okay, and the medium and large farmers, they do not worry, because they have enough savings, and they put their savings again to grow the crops for the next year. Okay, and we'll see this chart here. You can see big farmers, the small farmers are dependent on either big farmers or money lenders, and nowadays we have banks, so to give them the money. And you can see here If they are borrowing from the money lender, they have to pay back the money, which is taken at a high rate of interest. And then here you can see big farmers, they have lot of savings, okay, and they use that savings to produce, then they sell again, that leads into saving. So that is a cycle that they have, the big farmers: saving, produce, sell, and again leads to saving. Okay, whereas the small farmers have to depend on money lenders or big farmers. They borrow money. These days we have banks, but when they have to pay back, they have to pay back at a very high interest rate. Children, now we go ahead to the next topic: sale of surplus farm products. Now we see that what is surplus? Surplus is whatever is extra apart when the crops have been harvested, whatever extra is there, that is sold in the market. Okay, now let us see what the small farmer does. The small farmer doesn't have much extra crop for him to be sold in the market. Most of it that is grown in his farm is used for his family needs and food, whereas whatever remains he sells it in the market. Whereas large and medium farmers, they mainly grow crops to earn profits, mainly to be sold. So they earn huge profits by selling it in the market, okay, and they don't require much for their family needs. So they earn huge profits, and their main intention of growing crops is for commercial sale. Children, we finally come to the end of the last topic of your chapter, non-farming activities. As I told you, apart farming is the main occupation of the people in Palampur, but dairy farming, small scale manufacturing like basket weaving, broom making, then there are small shopkeepers, and then there is the transport facilities who run their auto rickshaws or trucks for transporting goods and people from one place to another. Okay, so you can see here dairy farming is going on here. A woman is making brooms. Okay, and then these are small shopkeepers, they are traders. They buy from the wholesale market, bring it to Palampur. They sell it to the Palampur traders. Then these Palampur traders sell it to the small shopkeepers who keep small items. So these are some of the non-farming activities in Palampur.